And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars.
Hello. I do not follow astrology or relay any information for profit, but because astrology has helped me so much in explaining the people I know and the things that are happening in the world, I relay my information in hopes that my learning will help others to explain things for themselves based on their own confusion or questions about astrology. Apologies if I become long-winded or redundant in the following explanation of my philosophies on astrology. I use the Placidus house system with a bit of Vedic interpretation when I read charts. In the beginning, it was quite confusing to me which house system was the most valid. It has taken years to confirm my philosophy on astrology, and I consider the subject one of continuing learning. First of all, we have all the signs somewhere in our chart, ruling a portion of our chart, so we are made up of all the signs, not just one sign. Those who do not subscribe to the belief that astrology works and is real may have had the belief that their sun sign is their ruler. That is the easiest thing to calculate by your birthday. The truth is that the whole chart is a map to the makeup of the soul. Therefore, one piece, namely the sun, would confuse anyone relying only on it to explain occurrences or personality traits. Much more important is your ascendant, your moon, and any stelliums of 3 or more planets in one sign in your chart. The whole chart needs considered for a true blueprint of one's personality, destiny, and life path. It took me a while to understand what house system seems most accurate and if Vedic or Western astrology should be considered more valid. I listened to many astrologers on YouTube using both sidereal, Vedic, and Western to consider what is the most critical philosophy to ascribe to about astrology. I purchased several books that combine both and listened to astrologers combining both Vedic and Western house systems. The conclusion I have come to is that they are very different house systems, and though descriptions of each house may be similar, they really are very different systems. The Vedic approach uses the actual calculation based on planets' actual placements, which moves a bit each year with a precession of the equinox. Vedic also uses philosophy based on scriptures called the Vedas, and can be extremely detailed, such as saying such and such an aspect will make your father rich and your feet will be large, etc., etc. Western is actually calculated and dependent on the seasons. Aries begins with the spring equinox, and each sign follows successively based on the seasons of the year and remain each year in conjunction with the seasons. So which is more accurate? The truth is, they both seemed to have validity in making accurate predictions. I had to ask the question why this seemed to be true, and my conclusion is that the personality and makeup of one's identity, as discerned by the chart, is very much separate to predictive astrology, predicting how daily, weekly, and monthly happenings are to be noticed and will be affecting the collective of humanity as a whole. These are based on the planets and what the transits, aspects, conjunctions, squares, trines, and sextiles are bringing to us. Most police officers can tell you the moon causes an effect when it is full. So it really should come as no surprise that planets cause an effect of push and pull on the energy around us also. Even Pluto, as it has been assigned the identity of a dwarf planet, has an effect. It is surrounded by 5 moons that we know of circling it, so there is a force there. Most astrologers recognize that the signs and planets are based in mythological reports, and the philosophy surrounding each one is supposedly connected to mythology and its descriptions. I have no reason to discount the origins of belief in whys and wherefores that were the birth and origins of astrology, but I want to have the most practical way to predict occurrences and assess as quickly as possible what may be coming. The biblical adage that there will be signs in the sky also is at the fore of my thoughts as to why I turn to astrology or astronomy to discern the effects that we may look for to be prepared for the energy coming our way upon the earth. Therefore, aside from getting into details for each sign of the zodiac, it has become my philosophy to instead follow the planets and stars in their general daily status, not to discount that we all have more effect when one planet is in play than another based on our personal chart, but most astrologers' reports online are inaccurate in relation to personal charts because not all people are correctly calculating the reports based on the sun sign. As in differing house systems, your sign may not even be the one you have been thinking it is, nor placed in the house you think it is in. General whole sign calculating is what online astrologers have to fall back on to give a general prediction for each sign. The truth is, in my summation, that your sign and house placement is not necessary for actual predicting of the energies we may experience. Vedic and Western astrology predictions are actually based on what the planets are doing, so I look to the transits we are having to follow. An example I give is my own moon sign. In Western, it is conjunct the Enum Koali of the 4th house, conjunct Regulus and Pluto in Virgo, and the North Node is in the 5th house. In Vedic, my moon is Leo, and my North Node is in the 6th house, still conjunct Regulus, but Pluto is not considered. It has taken me years to understand why, when I listened to sidereal Vedic and Western astrologers, they all had an element of truth to the predictions online, though. I have at last concluded it does not matter the sign or house a transit is happening in your personal chart to relay important information to the general population about what to be aware of coming up. The reason all house systems have an element of the truth is because of the planets and what they are doing, connecting to what they are connecting to in transits. For anything else on how these affect you personally, it depends on what house system you are using. Therefore, my Moon Dreams astrology reports are based solely on the transits of the planets. Not all house systems ascribe to whole house calculations, and your sun sign may be completely different than general astrology reports are based on, and the house the transits fall in will also be different than the general reports in your actual calculations from a different house system. But planet aspects continue on. If a planet is in easy aspect, a trine or sextile, that creates one effect. In a square or opposition, another. True, based on your charts, it may affect you more or less than other people. What planet is usually lucky or vice versa may affect you in an opposite way based on your personal chart, but nevertheless, we can predict an energy is coming based on looking at the particular aspect. To know how it affects you personally, the past effects on your life and patterns of the past can be looked at. Prior effects of planets' aspects can be seen based on how it affected you and the collective the last time it occurred. In summary, patterns in aspects become, to me, the most critical thing to observe. Thank you for listening.